If I'd asked the kids' Magic 8 Ball if I should make homemade croissants, the answer would have been all signs point to no, because this whole process was just one thing after another. I started by putting some ingredients into the food processor. I realised I didn't have enough yeast, and the yeast I did have, I spilt half of it all over the bench. When I turned the food processor on to knead all these ingredients together, it worked for 3 seconds before it decided it was my turn to do some kneading. I guess that wasn't the worst thing, because it meant that all of that yeast that ended up on the bench could now be kneaded into the dough. Silver linings, guys, silver linings. This part of the dough was actually made last night, so at this point here we were losing daylight and we were also losing patience. So I chucked the dough in the fridge and decided to come back to it this morning. First thing on today's agenda was to make the butter block and get that into the freezer so I could start working on that dough again. In today's lighting, I could tell that this dough was not as good as I thought it was last night. There was huge chunks of butter all throughout, but I thought, you know what, croissants are all about the butter, so surely it'll be fine. I rolled out the dough, popped in the butter, and did a whole lot of folds that I've seen online, the book fold and whatever this one is. I don't think I've said yet, but I got this recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction and I followed the ingredients, but obviously I've made up my own damn method. Once the dough had had a final rest, it was time to shape these into croissants, and I think for the first time in over 12 hours, this is when I finally saw some hope. These were left to proof and then covered with an egg wash before baking. Look, I'm not going to tell you these are perfect or that they are the best thing I have ever baked, but I have delicious crispy edges and a very flaky center, and I think my family will really like them.